All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to you, Akim, who are pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right, coming back with another lesson, Lord willing, through the Spirit is edifying. All right, the name of this lesson is "Thy terribleness hath deceived thee." All right, and this lesson is pretty much dealing with Esau, of course, Edom. All right, who plays a major role in prophecy. All right, Edom being the so-called white man. All right, of today. Okay, and yeah, America. All right, itself, which is his main hub, his main, society that that is pretty much dominating the world. All right, which right now, all right, you can't really say that they're dominating the world. All right, because the Lord is essentially bringing this society down, according to Isaiah 47. Of course, we see that America is losing essentially a grip on the world. All right, has lost influence, and is becoming the most hated. All right, America plays a major role in prophecy, which is widely and heavily ignored. All right, by scholars because, of course, you know, um, this, uh, the scriptures. All right, kind of point to its destruction. All right, and I kind of want to draw Akim's attention to basically what took place this weekend. All right, with President Trump's Vice President, what is his name? JD Vance. All right, he was at a speech in Munich, I believe, Germany, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And it says here slams European leaders on free speech and some other things that he kind of, came at the European uh, um, community about. All right, and the response, was pretty much it was a I don't want to say uproar, but in a sense, um, European leaders were pretty mad. And this is just a showing of America's prowess, America's pride and arrogance in the world. You know, um, uh, you know, the you got one faction, which, excuse me, you got America basically, telling another country how to run, or telling these individuals how to run their country, and criticizing them heavily on it. And it's very hypocritical. But it just shows you how arrogant, and the response is that these countries, well, I say it like this: the Lord is really setting this place up to be greatly despised and hated, and ultimately this is just grounds for America's allies to turn on them. you know and for the most part, they're moving. All right, they're posturing themselves as if they do not care. And I want to draw your attention to this, and then I got some precepts to kind of back up the points I'm making. But I'll try to make it quick, because it's just more tidbit information and things that's being done by America. All right, which is Babylon the Great. All right, that is leading uh, uh, to its fall, so to speak. So, without further ado, I kind of want to read this article, and then I want to get into some precepts. And let me do this first. All right, do the full screen. Okay. All right, because this, it's it's meshing with prophecy so well. All right, and all you can do is, kind of, you know, uh, take your hat off to the Lord, man, and praise Yahweh Shemel Shai, because it's making it happen. And the more people ignore the fact that America plays a major role in prophecy, the more that is screaming out that, well, damn, this is Babylon the Great. Now, I have to make the point that we are in the fourth beast. all right, or the last leg of the fourth beast, all right, which that fourth beast represented the Roman Empire. We are in that Roman Empire again, all right, the revitalized, the revived Roman Empire, all right, whose deadly wound, as it says in Revelations, all right, was healed, okay. And the Roman Empire did take a blow. It fell, it split up, okay, and it was put to silence, all right, for some time, but it was reborn, rebirth into the earth, all right, by its by the Edomite nation, all right, which is a so-called white man. Okay, so I have to pretty much lay the basis of that because it deals again, it's heavy into prophecy, and there ain't no escaping, So let me see, how should I start this? All right, I want to start with Daniel. Okay, and like I mentioned, we are in that fourth beast, so I'm gonna do a little jumping, but I want to hit the fine points. Daniel 7 and 8, and I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. All right, now that little horn is America. All right, because a horn represents strength, power. All right, it says before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. All right, now this is dealing with Spain, France, and Britain. All right, because this beast established itself in the earth. All right, um, and through its establishment, it had to pretty much uh, supersede these three. All right, horns. Okay, which were the Spanish, the French, and Great Britain. Okay, and their expansion into the New World. Okay, which plays a huge, huge part in prophecy. Again, of course, it's ignored, but we kind of bring these things to the light so you would understand what's going on and what has been taking place in the earth. All right, being occupied in prophecy, because that's what this thing is about, solely. All right, prophecy. Okay, all right. Now that fourth beast again we dealing with. Okay, so the little horn is essentially replacing these three horns. All right, because you had the 13 colonies, which had pretty much broke away from you know um, the somewhat so-called broke away, all right, from its rulers, so to speak, all right, for lack of better words, which were the Edomites that came over here to this part of the world, all right, which were the Spaniards, the French, all right, and Britain, because they all came to what for expansion, all right, for gold, for land, to own the rights of it, all right, to own slaves, so on and so forth, all right, so they can you know have riches. Okay, so moving on, it says, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of men. Now this represents the wisdom, intelligence, all right, and really quick, it might not even go into it, but when you deal with the symbology of the eyes, let's see what we can do here. All right, let's see, how can we type it? The symbology or symbolism of eyes. All right, because you know what? It kind of um, it kind of reminds me of when I'm thinking of an eye. You got the all-seeing eye, right? Okay, which it speaks volumes to their how they move in the earth and what they're doing in the earth. All right, so eye symbolism meaning. All right, the symbol symbolopedia. All right, symbolopedia. If I'm saying that right, it says psychologically eyes appearing in dreams can have a multiple interpretation. Let's see. Oh hell no, hell no. Uh, let's see here. Oh, let's look up in the Bible. All right, and this let's see here. Let's see what AI has to say, and they might give us references. All right, they do. All right, in the Bible, eyes symbolize understanding and spiritual perception, often representing one's inner condition or faith. A good eye signifies generosity and clarity of vision, while a bad eye indicates selfishness and spiritual blindness. Eh, like I said, it differs. All right, so we don't want to go too far into it, uh, but basically perceive, the basic understanding of, the symbology of eyes is pretty much wisdom for seeing, being able to see. All right. So without going too far into that, is wisdom. All right. It says in the mouth speaking great things. And those great things, all right, um, is of course I want to say arrogance, but let's see here. Let's see what it has for us. All right. And this is, a part of studying. You kind of gotta dig deep. All right. And mouth speaking, all right, great things. All right. And the Hebrew word here is rabab, rob. All right, rob. Okay. Let's see. It says great, figuratively of power. All right. So in a sense, almost it could be in a proud, all right, sense or arrogant sense. All right. So let's see here. It says who. This is good. It says huge in size, domineering in character. All right, because America is the, essentially the epitome of domineering in character. All right, being dominant, being first, as it says here, chief. All right, and so these are all spiritual traits that we can kind of add to understanding this precept. All right, a mouth speaking great things, meaning in a domineering sense. Okay, now let's jump. Okay, because you actually see that with America right now in the world, in this world, this current present world, right? These are the spiritual traits that they have. All right, and you can apply this to what America has done, and um, through its expansion. Okay, because it is the essentially the last leg of that fourth beast. It is the Roman Empire revitalized. All right, because let me see here. All right, if you understand the breakdown of the four different empires or the four different beasts. All right, even the scholars know that that fourth beast is dealing with Rome, but we live in the revitalized Rome, and I kind of say it. We keep saying it and reiterating it, you know, so that it sticks. Daniel 7:7, and after I saw in the night visions, behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, a strong exceeding, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. All right. And it's dealing with its military prowess. All right. It devour and break in pieces and stamp the residue with the feet of it. All right. And those are the nations that are pretty much subjected to it. All right. It consolidated or expanded its control in the known world at that time. And it was a very fierce, the Roman army was a very fierce army. All right. It says, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. Why was it diverse? Because of the system it had employed. All right, which was a political system. They didn't rule as a monarch. They ruled as a voter based system. All right, for lack of better words, as it says, and it had 10 horns. Well, those 10 horns were the 10 common markets or the 10 vassal states of its time. All right, and you can look that up. You know, and not to go too deep, but again, we must kind of establish this. Let's see here. Let's see if the scholars, you know, knew what this fourth beast was. All right, let's see here. That's the bear, another like a leopard. All right. See, and look, another like a leopard. Okay, and even the scholars know it was. It says the leopard represented the Greek Empire. Alexander the Great quickly conquered the civilized world by age 28, and then it was known as a leopard because the scriptures here. The scriptures speak in similitudes. All right, let's get that in Hosea 12 and 10 really quick. It says, I have spoken by the prophets and I have multiplied visions. And all right, and this is what we're doing. We're breaking down a vision that Daniel had, all right, which he broke it down to the king. Okay. All right. Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. And I believe this. Yeah, so like Salaki, it says, and use similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. All right. So a leopard is going back to Daniel 7. A leopard is nothing more than a similitude for, and what is a similitude? It's a resemblance. It said to be like, and the Hebrew word for it is dama, dama, right? It's a similitude or something that resembles something. So when you go back to that leopard, all right, a leopard is swift. They're very fast. Okay, look, it says it. It says the leopard was known for its sudden, unexpected attacks. You see, this one was especially swift with 4 wings and clever, right? Having 4 heads, okay, which we know those were the 4 generals that took over. All right, and they'd even have it. It says what, especially the 4 heads here were Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy, who inherited Alexander's domain. So they know that, right? They know that, but somehow you don't know that the last leg, all right, or that little horn is the America, which prides itself on being the Roman empire revitalized. You even had even now, well, hell, the eagle is the nation's symbol. All right, and then you had the guy just recently, Elon Muskie. All right, Mustard. All right, he did the Roman salute. All right, and he said he's obsessed with Rome. All right, so and he's doing that for show. All right, they just proudly want to openly admit who they truly are. All right, so it's nothing more than an Edomite expansion or a continuance of the Edomite Roman Empire. All right, in our modern time. So Lord willing, this making sense. Makes sense. So it says, let me see. All right, so it's going to try to break down Daniel 7 and 9. Let's see if they say it's the Roman Empire. All right, and they're not going to mention that that little horn is America. We already know that. In some cases, you do have some scholars that would. All right, yeah, they go into some other stuff. Okay, so let's see. We just want to see if it says the Roman Empire and the fourth beast dreadful. Uh, the fourth beast dreadful and terrible. The fourth beast was indescribable and uniquely horrific in its power and conquest. Oh, there we go. All right. It says in historical fulfillment, the fourth beast represents the Roman Empire, which was the largest, strongest, most unified, and enduring of them all. Okay. Yeah, there you go, telling on themselves. All right. Okay. Now we kind of established that, because we're kind of segmenting into, how Esau's his terribleness, as the scriptures say, his terribleness have deceived him, and there's still, a terror in the world, and essentially here we'll jump to 7 and Daniel 7 and 20. All right, because really I want to name this lesson whose look was more stout than his fellows, and this is alley oop from the elder Yashawamba. All right, because I posted, I don't know if it was a video, and I posted a few videos, a few maybe a few articles dealing with how what took place this weekend with JD Vance. And we're gonna kind of see how that kind of segments into prophecy. All right, because again, all right, you shall know them by their fruits. All right. And this is how we determine the things that people are doing in the earth, nations, all right, are doing in the earth, particularly America, all right. Their works are proven who they are biblically, all right. And we can make the discernment and understand the role that they're playing in these times, all right. Okay, which heavily ignored, all right, heavily ignored, okay. But we're seeing them for us, this is edifying and seeing the true nature of the Esau and what they're doing in the times. All right, and we're comforted because the Lord is essentially giving us one up. Okay, so Daniel 7 and 20 it says, "In the 10 horns, which are the 10 common markets, which exceed 10 right now, because here, all right, the European community, all right, because in the ancient world you had the 10, all right, which were the Visigoths. You had of course, I forget the ancient names, and that's my fault because I'm supposed to know them. But I got them written down. All right. But let's see here. But modern in the modern time, all right, you have. Let's see here. And so, like, if you hear background noise, okay, all right. The EEC was created in 1957 by the Treaty of Rome. All right. Why would they call it the Treaty of Rome? Remember, these are Edomites. All right. Okay. This is which was signed by Belgium, all right, France, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, all right. So Belgium 1, France 2, Italy 3, Luxembourg 4, the Netherlands 5, West Germany 6, United Kingdom, which is Britain 7, Denmark 8, Ireland 9, Greece 10. All right. Okay. But now it's more. Okay. When you look at the European Economic Community, right? It's comprised of pretty much all of these European states. All right. So, all right. Okay. Now we established that the right, the 10 horns. All right, that were in his head, and of the other which came up. All right, and before whom three fell. All right. Now the one that came up is just referencing verse 8. All right, that little horn. All right, which would replace. All right, or yeah, who replaced these three other horns. All right, okay. So back in verse 20, so that little horn, which is America. All right, and before whom three fell, even of that horn that had eyes. All right, and a mouth that spake very great things. All right, and the things that is speaking of the they're speaking as um with power and authority, basically. All right. So it says, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All right. And I kind of want to get the NLT really quick because it says it on a more basic premise. All right. And then you're going to see, based on these articles and the videos I show you, all right, just tidbit information to add you know, to what we already know. All right, as far as who America is and what role they're playing in society now. All right, so whose look was more stout than his fellows, and it says here the Hebrew word for it is Rob. All right, which is the same thing. Excuse me. It was the same word for in verse 8. It was the same as great things. All right. So going back. All right. So his whose look was more stout. Okay. And we're gonna show you the actions of what America's doing is stout. Okay. And you can easily see that they're definitely fulfilling prophecy. All right. Basically to speak great things, i.e., to speak proudly, all right, and piously. Okay. Here in the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, all right, it says chief leader captain. All right. So let's do this. All right. Chief leader captain. All right. Oops. And here it says highest in rank or power, most important or prominent, supreme, best, right? Because that's what they believe that they are the best. They believe that they're the most prominent, that they're the most important. All right. And this how they posture themselves in the world. And the nations, even their allies, hate it. All right. They do it so much so they're stepping on their allies, and we're gonna show you how they're doing that through this article in a video I want to play. But it's nothing they haven't been doing. They've been doing this, and so it's nothing new that I'm bringing out. It's just tidbit information to add to what we already see in the first place, right? Which kind of solidifies America's role in biblical prophecy. It says placed above the rest. See, placed above the rest, right? So check this article. I got to bring it out. It says Trump's America First revival. Boy, boy, oh boy, goddamn. Satan, boy. Play with me now. It says Trump's America First revival could backfire. Now, check this out. New York, November 11th, Reuters breaking views. America First is returning to the world stage. Donald Trump's election victory heralds a revival of his nakedly transactional approach to foreign policy and trade, right? Because they're saying America first, we're putting us first, right? So they're not essentially in how can I say going to the aid of others. They're putting themselves first. Okay. It says that will further erode global principles, all right, and make the United States a less reliable ally, right? Because as a superpower, you're supposed to do things that's beneficial not to yourselves but to all your allies. And lately, they have been sabotaging their allies. All right, the bombing of the Nord Stream pipelines, which was a few years ago. All right, or maybe even last year, or maybe a few years ago. I don't know exactly, but that took a that pretty much the European nations took a major blow to their energy, right? And I believe it was the one of the worst years of you know Europe's energy. It was almost an energy crisis because people had to pay more. Certain places in Europe wasn't getting much energy like the resources, natural gas. Okay, so they weren't able to feed heat to their homes and certain things like that. All right, that was America's doing. That was Babylon's doing. They kind of sabotaged their enemy. I mean, their own allies, and trying to sabotage their main enemy, which is Russia. Okay, just for an example. Okay, and there's many examples out there. All right, so they're saying because it says global principles. Now, I do want to do something really quick. Let me see because there's an article and it kind of deals with here. I'm gonna have to stop showing my screen really quick because I want to show you something really quick. So Salakia, but I'm not. I gotta go to my here. Let me see where we at. Where we at? Where we at? Um, yeah, I'm doing a lesson. So check this out. Um, So bear with me because I want to show you something. Because America is abandoning all principles when it comes to dealing with the foreign policy, especially when it comes to their own allies. Okay, so you got articles like Trump antagonism, U.S. allies risks China. So let me see. Oh, Trump has played hardball with Canada, Colombia, Denmark. That's not it though. We're gonna keep going. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. The rules based international order explained, right? Because there's supposed to be a certain type of a rule set when dealing internationally. And America's not playing by those rules, right? They're not playing by those principles. So in this article it says here, let me get my screen back up. Let's see here. All right. All right. So in this article, all right, picking up from where we left off, it says, let's see, Trump's election victory heralds a revival of his nakedly transactional approach to foreign policy and trade that will further erode global principles and make the United States a less reliable ally. Its friends in Europe and Asia may then hedge their bets, ultimately strengthening its rivals, China and Russia. All right. So America's not playing ball, they, when it comes to, them uh, making these deals or doing how they're moving and posturing themselves with their policies, they're running over their own allies. It says the rules-based international order explained. And I'm gonna just read a little bit. The term rules-based international order has become commonplace in government statements and joint communique for many. The corresponding message is that it is necessary to reinforce that order to preserve the conditions needed for peace and prosperity. Others argue that the rules based international order is nothing more than a tool for a select group of countries to advance their own hegemonic or exploitive uh, exploitative ambitions. The one commonality between the two sides that present those arguments is that neither tends to define what the rules-based international order really is or why it matters. For those seeking to manage conflict, to advance relations between nations, or simply to understand the state of global affairs, the definition of the rules based international order is important. It is neither some nebulous concept without practical effects, nor is it some oligarchical, oligarchical, all right, which means ruled by the few, all right, construct construct meant to impose rules for thee but not for me, all right. Right. So you got America that which do that, superpowers that kind of make rules for everybody else, but they don't follow those same guidelines. All right. And this is a problem in this international order of theirs, right? So it shows you a divide, and you know what the scriptures say about a divide. A kingdom that is divided shall not stand, right? Roughly paraphrasing. It says the rules based international order as we know it today is predicated on a system of laws, rules, and norms, and it has underpinned international interactions since its formal establishment in 1945. Whether its overall influence is positive or negative continues to be predicated on the actions of the members of the international community, but one cannot influence what one does not fully understand. All right. So going back to this article, all right. America First revival could backfire. All right. And so, upon them putting themselves first, of course, like I explained, is leaving everybody else behind. And, really not, yeah, it's really not leaving them behind, but they're stepping on their own allies' toes, which this is a means for the nations to turn against America, which Obadiah 1:7 goes into. All right, which we're going to get that precept later. It says the president elect's first stint in the Oval Office showed that he cares little for rules and alliances, but has a fondness for autocrats. More recently, he has called Russian President Vladimir Putin a genius for invading Ukraine and described Chinese President Xi Jinping as brilliant for controlling his people with an iron fist. Now, with the last administration, all right, with Biden, okay, they were essentially funding money to the Ukraine to war against Russia. But this guy, he comes in with a whole another scheme. All right. So he's giving compliments to, you know, his allies' enemy, so to speak. All right. And he does something else, all right, that oversteps his allies. All right. And that's not in his own allies' interests. Okay. Which again, that's going to spark, you know, uh, discontent. All right. So Trump has also said he would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. You see, remember the last administration, Biden, they were essentially giving what I think was it 69 billion or something like that. They were giving billions of dollars up to the Ukraine. So, you know, and of course we know the Ukraine is well, NATO is trying to annex the Ukraine, all right, for whatever strategic things that they got going, all right, which mainly is, of course, is about resource and the control thereof, right? It says, with those members of the NATO defense alliance that do not spend enough on defense. And he, in the same breath, he's criticizing his own allies because they don't, and he's been doing this even in his first stint, all right, his first presidency, that was one of the things that he was big on, Europe or NATO, the NATO nations putting more money into the defense spending. All right, because essentially America's the one, they're the big dogs on the block. The American military industrial complex is the ones that come in and play the hero, so to speak. All right. It says, so I'll read this again. It says Trump has also said he would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want with those members of the NATO defense alliance that do not spend enough on defense, and he has promised to impose 10% tariffs on imports, even from friendly countries. Now, that definitely that's definitely stirring up discontent. Okay, it says a relatively benign interpretation of these statements is that Trump still values these partnerships, but is making threats to get better deals from allies on defense and trade. Robert O'Brien, who was U.S. National Security Advisor during Trump's first term, argues that the president elect would secure peace through strength by a robust foreign policy. All right. So moving on, and it's not so much more. All right. Washington's friends would be more secure and more self reliant, and its foes would once again fear American power. The United States would be strong and there would be peace, O'Brien wrote in Foreign Affairs in June. The snag is that Trump seems happy to throw his weight around. All right, now this is going back. Now we doing all of this to basically prove that these motherfuckers, they're stout. All right, they're the stout ones. All right, they're the ones that speaking great things. Okay, so you can apply this to what it says in the scriptures. All right, you can apply what they're doing in the world to what the scriptures is saying. Okay. And again, they're acting as the chief ones, all right, more stout, whose look was more stout than his fellows, all right, the highest in rank or power, most important, because that's what they believe, or prominent, supreme, best. They believe that they're the best, placed above the rest. You see, and this is how they're moving. Okay, okay, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All right, all right, whose look was more stout than his fellows. All right, so let's go back. Then I ain't gonna do too much of this. 'Cause, I mean, you get the point. All right. There's more to it though. And I'm gonna play JD Vance and what he did over the weekend that stirred up some more discontent. All right, which is only this is only leading to what? America's fall. So I'm gonna kind of cut some of this. All right. So it says the snag is that Trump seems happy to throw his weight around to get a better deal, even if that means bullying partners. All right. They believe they're the best. This is how they posturing themselves, right? He does not believe in the rules based order. All right. And we went over that. All right. Which is, essentially a principle based where you can't supersede your own nation. He went to Russia and had negotiations uh without NATO and Ukraine or something like that. And that kind of sparked more discontent. All right. Because he's overstepping. All right. Okay. And he's essentially fucking up, uh, you know, Europe's, how can you say, their agenda. Okay. He does not believe in rules based order where principles govern international relations and trade. O'Brien calls it a fictional abstraction. As a result, allies in Europe and Asia will trust the United States less and view it as a unreliable partner. They will look for alternative ways to protect themselves in a world where might matters more than right. So you see, even America's allies are then now they got to find a substitute because what these the American or Babylon the Great, all right, whose whose look is more stout than his fellows, all right, they're posturing themselves in a way that's not beneficial to uh, Europe. Okay, European dangers. Ukraine has the most to fear from Trump's election. Right, he may bully President Zelensky, all right, to accept a bad deal with Russia by threatening to cut off arms supplies unless it agrees terms. You see, in the last administration with Biden, they were giving tons of money to the Ukrainians, to the Zelensky, which they were funneling money. This dude was on yachts and all of that other stuff. You know, whatever. All right, but it's all set up to destabilize Russia and its resources. All right, so that they would lose out on uh, making money or whatever the case may be. All right. So it says the president elect has said he could end the war in 24 hours, though he has not said how. His running mate, JD Vance, suggested that a deal could involve Kiev giving Moscow the territory it currently illegally occupies and a guarantee that Ukraine would not become a member of NATO. So that's undermining your own allies, right? Right. And that breeds discontent, which is what we go back to the scriptures, and the scriptures say here that their allies are going to be essentially here. There's Jeremiah. Okay. Uh, let's do this one. Jeremiah 50 and 12. It says, your mother, which is Britain, Great Britain, okay, shall be, and then the scriptures refer to America as the daughter of Babylon. Okay, well, Esau is the daughter of Babylon, which the it's just a play on words, so to speak. All right, a similitude. Okay, again, but your mother, all right, um, which is Great Britain, shall be sore confounded, because she's the one that bore America. All right, America comes out of Great Britain, basically. All right, she that bare you shall be ashamed. You see, behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert, because war is heavily involved in this. Okay, because ultimately, let's go here. All right, this is what is breeding. Oops, this is what is breeding grounds for Obadiah 1 and 7. Right, all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border. All right, they're gonna turn on America. All right, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Somewhere down the line, America thinks it's going to be backed by its allies, because it's going to be in a place of difficulty somehow, some way. All right, and his allies are going to essentially lead them on to believe that they're with them, and they're going to turn on them. All right, this is how the Lord is setting this thing up. Okay, because you see the characteristics of this proud and arrogant, uh, you know, society, which is America, right? It's only going to backfire. All right, it says, and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. They that eat thy bread, and what that bread could be, the democracy, the way of life that, or philosophy that they're sharing and pushing. All right, it says, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Right. So let's see if the NLT kind of breaks it down more simpler. All right. Obadiah 1 and 7, and your allies will turn against you. Plain and simple. There you go. All right. They will help to chase you from your land. You see, they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you, because that's how America's going to be destroyed, by its own allies, plus its enemies, its actual enemies, its primary enemies, which is Russia and China. All right. It says your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. You see, and that's they they're driving up so much discontent that this is leading to this, what it's saying here. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. So it's gonna be unawares. All right. So going back. Okay. Now we finished with those two articles. I'm slocky it took so long. All right, but I'm gonna play this in fair use. You know, um, yeah. So let's get it, Salakia.
This week, Vice President J.D. Vance stunned leaders in Europe, questioning whether their values warranted defense by the United States.
All right, let's just make sure. Okay, that is running. So just want to make sure you guys sound.
Vance spoke in Munich. European politics infect whether their values warranted defense by the United States. Vance spoke in Munich, painting a picture of European politics infected by media censorship and political correctness. Here's CBS's Elizabeth Palmer.
The vice president's speech was a broadside aimed at European leaders who just weren't expecting it, especially Germany's. It's not only hosting the conference, but will be heading into national elections next week. The address accused mainstream European politicians of failing to control immigration and then eroding free speech by muzzling far-right anti-immigration parties.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within.
The chill in the room gave way to real anger. Germany's defense minister Boris Pistorius said comparing European governments to authoritarian regimes was just unacceptable. There is also
What's the saying? The pot calling a tea kettle black or something like that. Look, America has the nerve to talk about anybody being a dictator, or the term that they use. Uh, you know, it's hypocritical at the end of the day. And they're going to voice their opinion about it, because everybody see the hypocrisy in America. All right, and the fact that they're championing themselves on being so upright is really disgusting. All right, when you really look at it, and you you base everything upon the facts. You know, is America's full of shit, and they really losing their own allies. Okay, because what again? Who's stout is more. Whose look were more stout than his fellows. So going back to that to the
So
prophecy
being a
precept.
furious reaction in the European media, too. The speech has been called vengeful, preachy, unkind, and above all, widening the rift between America and its allies and friends.
See,
Meanwhile, all eyes
widening the rift between his allies and friends. Now this is Zelensky on the left, right, and then you got JD Vance on the right. Now last year with the last administration, they were pouring money into the whole Ukraine, uh, uh, you know, agenda, I guess you could say, for lack of better words. The Ukraine, the Ukraine were talking about they were going to invade Moscow or bomb Moscow or something like that. You know, that type of talk. Now that this administration are coming, they're saying they're going to put a complete screeching halt. They said they're going to stop. He can stop the war in 24 hours, right? So yeah, man. Again, America posturing themselves and acting like the chief one in the earth. Okay.
had been on a meeting between the U.S. Vice President and Secretary of State and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. But after only half an hour, the discussion ended with no new information on.
Yeah, you can tell by the body language, man. You can see with the body language, man. How that went. That's that arrogant. Us first, you know, and everyone last, so to speak.
How the U.S. would help bring an end to Russia's war with Ukraine, or crucially, what role Ukraine itself would play in negotiations that will shape its own future.
Yeah, there's a number of Edomites fighting with each other, man. All right. A kingdom divided shall not stand. And these are all Edomites. All right. And they've been fighting with each other for the longest. All right. Let's see what Trump's win means for U.S. foreign policy. Former U.S. President Donald Trump's election victory marks the beginning of another roller coaster ride in U.S. foreign policy. The president-elect is poised to bring back the hallmarks of his first term: a trade war with China, a deep skepticism, and really, this what it really does is affect the citizens over here. All right, because you got to pay more. All right, there's a tax on everything. All right, and people ain't gonna really notice it, but people are gonna start noticing a change. All right, the things are gonna be more hard to come by, less jobs. All right. And then what? Really, they're going to bring in this whole digital AI technology based universal basic income. This is all really what's really coming behind the smoke and mirrors. All right. It says a war with China, a deep skepticism, even hostility toward multilateralism, just their allies, right? A fun and then when it said multilateralism, it's just different trade deals, and the overlapping trade deals with countries who are allies. They got trade deals with countries who are enemies, and who are threats and all of that type of stuff. So it says even hostility toward multilateralism and fondness for strong men, and an iconoclastic tweet from the hip style of deal making diplomacy. Trump's advice, yeah, because he Trump is what do you call it when he's like gun ho, he's like unpredictable. There we go. He's very unpredictable, very proud and unpredictable. All right, and that's what you're getting from this administration. All right, it says Trump's advisors have said his peace through strength approach is what the country needs in this precarious moment. The second term will bring new challenges, though not least the two wars in the Middle East and Ukraine that the United States is deeply involved in. Trump has promised to end the war in Ukraine before he even takes office. All right, but he has yet to offer any detailed plan. His plans for bringing peace to the Middle East are equally vague. Okay. and you got to pay for the rest of the article. So I ain't gonna go into that. All right, other videos you can watch.
Hold on, before you pay for yet another app to manage your team, let me introduce you to Connect Team, the one platform that.
All right, Salakia too. And that's just the full speech, and you could just, I mean, you could watch it, but it just shows you how America's posturing themselves, and this is the response from uh, Pistorius. All right, so yeah, man. As you can see, man, this is really all leading to um, America, you know, losing big and being set up for her own fall. So this is Jeremiah 49:16. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. All right. O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. All right. That holdest the height of the hill. All right. Meaning that what they, the game is like the game called King of the Hill, right? And this is the only way I can like kind of think of right now. They holding the height of the hill. They're at the top of the hill, and everybody else they're pushing down so they can hold their place. All right. Though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, all right, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. So, and we know they're in that domineering position, all right. But ultimately, all right, the Lord, all right, is going to bring an end, or he's going to bring them down. All right. It says also Edom shall be a desolation, because this is all leading to the nations turning against her and destroying her. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. These nations are essentially going to come against this place. All right. And they're going to, even though they might be enemies, and I'm speaking on America's allies, and America's primary enemies are going to become, the saying, my enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my ally, or something like that, or it's my friend, or something like that. That's going to be the situation with that. All right, Louisville, and this makes sense. All right, it says Isaiah 14:9, hell from beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming. Right, meaning a fall, a great fall. All right, it says it stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. All right, which it says here, it hath raised up their thrones. It's like it hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Because America is not going to be, uh, the nation that has the that's going to move with that prowess in the earth. All right, they're going to be on the same level playing field as the other nations, because they're going to be weak militarily. They're spread thin, and guess what, there's going to be more conflicts in the earth, which is going to lead to that. And in fact, we got a conflict right now on the border, which is leading to that as well. So there's a lot of things going on, all right, which is all playing towards the downfall of the society. And guess what, it's the Lord's doing. All right, so 11 says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. I mean, meaning the song. All right. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. That's the corruption, corrosion from the inside out. All right. Which we just talked about. Immigration is one of those things. But guess what? With that, they're going to employ more graver measures, which are draconian law, draconian state, where everything is going to be, they're going to have to lock this place down. All right. And that's going to be, it's going to be Jacob's trouble. Okay. It's going to be your trouble. So how do we figure in this what's about to take place with all this information that's I brought out? All right, Jake is going. You're going to take it, because guess what? That their attention going to be drawn to you. All right, their attention going to be on you, and they're going to be wanting to weed out the weak. All right. So it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?" All right, and this is dealing with the light bearers of society, those that call themselves the Illuminati, those that who call themselves at the top of society. All right, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. All right. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Now, who is saying that? All right. These Edomites. All right. Especially these Americans. All right. Of course, you got the Europeans saying it as well. But those are all Edomites. All right. You got them all saying that. All right. But the main hub of society, the golden cup. All right. The golden, today's modern golden city, right, is America. Okay. It's who everybody is trying to be like. All right. So I'm gonna have to cut it too. I'm gonna have to cut this lesson. Slacking. Um, God abases the proud, but exalts the righteous. Let's see here. Here we go. Psalm 75:4. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up up not the horn, which is their strength. All right, because the horn on an animal, what is used, it's a domineering mechanism, all right, that animals use, all right, and so the symbology is their strength, okay. So the Lord is saying, lift not up the horn, all right, lift not up your horn on high, because that's what they've been doing for the longest, and that horn going back to Daniel 7, all right. So speak not with a stiff neck, and that's what they're doing. They've been speaking arrogantly. All right, they've been very obstinate. Okay, all right. For promotion cometh not neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another, and so that's what's going to happen. The Lord is actually strategically pulling this society down. And guess what? Through his terribleness, you've been deceived through their own terribleness and their own prowess in the earth. They've been deceived to think themselves to be the chief, to be the main ones, and that they exist above everybody else, and that they should be first above everyone else. That's all coming to an end. All right. But the Most High is the judge. He put it down one and set it up another. For in the hand of the Lord Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red, it is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same, but the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall bring them out and drink them. All right. And that's what's going to happen. The Lord is setting it up. Okay. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. And the horns that are strength, which is this the truth, knowledge, and understanding, which is the Lord, period, right? That's what's going to exalt us in this time, okay? Okay, so let's see here. I had this in the NLT. All right. The end of the wicked contrasted with that of the righteous here. Psalm 73:1. Truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart, excuse me. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. All right. Uh, let's see, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble like as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. As you see how Esau moves in the earth, they get to call all the shots. All right, they're essentially the perfect ones in this life. They don't have nothing to worry about. They don't have to look behind their shoulder. They get to put others on edge. They're the ones that's on offense, right? It says, therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covered them as a garment. All right, because this is how they move in the earth. All right, that they move with violence. They move in pride. All right, it says their eyes stand out with fatness. Right, they have more than heart can wish. All right, and they can't have enough. Really. All right. All right, they are corrupt. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily, so they speak from this arrogant position in the world, right? But they're corrupt. All right, inwardly they corrupt men. Okay, and they speak wickedly concerning oppression. They don't bring forth justice. All right. Uh, they set their mouths against the heavens. All right, and they're doing that. All right, especially with this new age technology and their philosophy behind it. Okay, and their tongue walking through the earth. As we see the foreign policy, what do you think that is? That their tongue walking through the earth. Therefore, his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. All right, let me see here. Uh, and they say, "How doth God know?" Right, how the things that Esau searched out is the Most High is searching it out. Right, and of course, your works you shall know them by their fruits. But no, that ain't the one I want to quote. Um, the one is God is not mocked. That's what that which a man sowed. That's that which a man sowed, that shall he also reap. Okay, because they're gonna reap all the violence that they put forth in the earth, especially because they dealt with the children of Israel in the manner in which they dealt with us. All right, slavery, Jim Crow, prison industrial complex, you name it, flooding the our communities with drugs. All right, um, you name it. All right, okay, using the entertainment world to to take away our morals and take away every to pretty much try to destroy us as a people. All right. uh Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. Verily I cleanse my heart in vain and wash my hands in innocency. All right, for all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning. All right, but we know, here, as Job puts it, the triumph of the wicked is but for a moment. And we're seeing that because we're seeing the wicked fall from grace, falling from their place. All right. And we notice that, ultimately they're going to be destroyed even by their own. Okay. So, Job 20:4. All right. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. That's right. So with that, I'm gonna have to cut it. All right, Lord willing, it was edifying. Until next time, I'll give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. All right.